Hi everyone, Brian from Syngency here, and today we're going to be having a video walkthrough with the integration between Syngency and QuickBooks, just to show you the different features, what is synced between Syngency and QuickBooks when you invoice a booking, and the other ways that data is communicated between the two platforms. So before we get started, you'll want to have followed these instructions in the Getting Started with QuickBooks article on our support site, and this just takes you through the various steps required to initially connect Syngency to QuickBooks. Once you've done that, mapping your chart of accounts. And all of this we'll touch on briefly, but mainly in this video, it's going to be all about what gets synced between the two platforms. So starting off in our QuickBooks settings, we can see now that I've already connected Syngency to QuickBooks. So I have my QuickBooks company displayed here, and I've already selected the different product items in QuickBooks, which correspond with the various invoice transactions in Syngency. So anytime that an invoice is created in QuickBooks, it's going to map the Syngency transactions on this side with the relevant items, invoice items, or sales items as they're called in QuickBooks on this side. And we can see that in action in just a few moments. Things like reference, line item description, class, you can just leave those empty for now. Those are really only if you want to customize how Syngency displays the line items in QuickBooks. Custom fields we can set accordingly based on what you have set up in QuickBooks. And then we have bills. So these are the accounts, numbered accounts in QuickBooks that correspond with the various bill transactions, such as fees paid to talent, any expenses reimbursed, any agency commission deducted. And again, you can customize reference, line item, description, and classes if you want to do more in-depth tracking across divisions or offices, but we'll cover that in more detail another time. Vendor credits, obviously, for any expenses that are created from the expenses tab of a talent's profile. These will go across to QuickBooks as a vendor credit, so you want to link those to the correct expense account. If you do have taxes applicable, you'll want to set those up. And billing codes, we're going to run through a little later on in this video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to sync to QuickBooks from Syngency is a talent profile. So you'll see here, we're in a Syngency talent. Katie Rob's here. She has an email address, phone number, some contact information entered under contacts, and some account details here, including her billing name that should be used on checks. So to sync a talent to QuickBooks, it's simple as just saving the profile. And in the background here, Syngency will be creating a vendor in QuickBooks. Now, in some cases, if you're using payroll modes in the US, and we cover that in a different video, but Syngency will also be creating a customer record in QuickBooks for that talent. And that's because with payroll, quite often you're invoicing the talent for their commission, their agency commission. And unfortunately, QuickBooks has to have separate customers and vendors, depending on whether you're paying them or whether you're invoicing them. So in this case, we can then go to our accounts tab once the talent has been updated. And you'll see down below, we have QuickBooks vendor and a QuickBooks customer. And these numbers here are the relevant IDs of that vendor and that customer in QuickBooks. And we can click this link button here to open up the vendor in QuickBooks. And you'll see that Syngency has synced across all of her details, her address information, email, phone number, everything like that. If there's a social security number entered in Syngency, that'll sync too. And then obviously we have her transaction history as well. So that's a vendor. You'll also notice that if we go to sales and then customers, and we do a search for Katie, down the bottom here we have Katie Robs and in brackets talent. Now that's created in case any payroll payments need to be charged to her. So typically if the agency needs to charge for an agency fee directly, then that will be made out to Katie Robs brackets talent. And you can switch this off. If you're not going to use this feature, you can switch it off in settings so the custom is not created. So the other part of the talent profile that Syngency syncs to QuickBooks are expenses. So if we go down to expenses here, this is where you enter any chargebacks that are charged to the talent, directly to the talent from the agency, or any payments that are advanced to the talent. So here we can see we have a chargeback and an advance here. Now, if we open this up, we've got spending money recouped, it's a chargeback, $400, and then a date issued. When we save this, it will sync across to QuickBooks as a vendor credit. And once it's saved, we can click again the arrow icon next to the ID to open it up directly in QuickBooks. So here we have our vendor credit categorized, coded to our talent chargebacks chart of accounts as we set up in settings with a description and the amount. And then this can be applied to any bills that the talent has outstanding. So we can see this one has actually already been applied to a bill that was a bill payment that was paid earlier. Now on the advances side, it will create a bill. So we can see here for per diems, we're going to advance $100. If we save this and then open it again, you'll see we now have a QuickBooks bill that's been created with an ID, and we can click that here to open it up. And there's our bill. And again, it's coded to the talent expenses reimbursed as we set up in settings with a description and the amount. And then that can be paid out to the talent. Once it's paid for both of these, the date paid will be updated in Syngency. Okay, so contacts are synced to QuickBooks as customers. So we've got a Syngency contact here, Mark Jacobs, business with address details, phone number, email, any accounts information. And if we save this, it will sync across to QuickBooks as a customer. And once again, under the Accounts tab, you'll see we have a QuickBooks customer with an ID here, and we can click the link to open it in QuickBooks, where as a customer, all of that information has been synced across. So the display name, the billing address, email address, and phone number. Likewise, if we were to add a mobile, fax, or website details in Syngency, those will sync to the relevant fields as well. Now, finally, we have a booking, and this is where most of the interaction between Syngency and QuickBooks occurs when you're using the integration. So we have a booking here, which we've set up, Mark Jacobs Summer Catalog Shoot with our client, Mark Jacobs, and we have two talent, Katie and Lisa, who have both been entered to this booking. We can see here that Lisa has a shoot fee for $8,000, and she has a flight. So that's both being charged to the client. Lisa, on the other hand, has a shoot fee, a flight, and an Uber. And both of these are being reimbursed to her because she's paid for those. So under the Details tab, we can sync to QuickBooks by changing the status to invoiced and then clicking Save. So in the background, what's happening is the Mark Jacobs client is being synced as a customer in QuickBooks. Katie and Lisa are both being synced across as vendors. And then we will have one invoice in QuickBooks to Mark Jacobs, and we'll have a bill to Katie and to Lisa respectively. So we can see here that the response from QuickBooks is okay. That means that everything is synced correctly. If we open up our invoice tab in Syngency, we can see that we have an invoice number now, payment terms, and you'll know that the QuickBooks invoice has synced successfully because we have an ID, and we can click the open icon to go straight to the invoice in QuickBooks. So here it is here. You can see it's included all of the line items for the talent here. We have the shoot fee, the flight, and the Uber for Lisa. We have the talent fees, expenses for Katie, and then we have the agency fee for each of them. All of the client information has been synced across, as well as our purchase order number, our project description, and our booker as set up as the custom fields in settings. And it's used the payment terms, setting the invoice date and the due date according to what's in Syngency. So this will match exactly what your invoice in Syngency reads. Likewise, we have a bill to each of the talent. So if we click on Lisa, we can see we've got a QuickBooks bill here, and we can click on the action icon to open the bill. Now you'll see here we have the shoot fee, and then Syngency has calculated the agency commission and deducted that from the shoot fee. Both are coded according to what has been selected as their corresponding chart of accounts in settings, and it's also synced Katie's mailing address and any other contact information across as well. Now with the bill reference, this is automatically generated by Syngency. The 104 is the invoice number. So back in your booking, you'll see that this is invoice number 104. And then the other number is Katie's talent ID from Syngency. So this way you can just match exactly what the bill relates to. If we were to open up her profile, this is the number that sits at the end of her Syngency URL. Okay, let's open up Katie's because she had a reimbursement as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa did. So if we open up Lisa's tab in the booking and then click the action icon to go to her bill in QuickBooks, you'll see that she has her talent fees paid, her agency commission deducted, but she also has 2 line items that are being reimbursed to her. If we were to take one of these off, so it's no longer reimbursed to her, if we save it, and you'll need to remember to save the entire booking in order for it to sync to QuickBooks. This will update both the bill and the invoice. So if we refresh her bill now, it'll only be 1 reimbursement. There we go. So you can see how everything syncs in real time. You just need to remember to save the booking. The memo at the bottom here is just the invoice number and the booking description. And I should note that we don't currently sync attachments from Syngency to QuickBooks, but this may be something that we offer at a later date. So that's the key integration between Syngency and QuickBooks. You can see when a booking has successfully synced, as you'll have a green QuickBooks icon with the last published date hover. Okay, thanks for watching. That's QuickBooks and Syngency.